Three, two, one. What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to the podcast. Dan Stephen here for another episode. And this one, episode 121. Pádraig McCrory. Stephen, how was it?
It was a really good chat. It was.
Nice guy, wasn't he?
Genuine. He was a gentleman. I thought he
Mm-hmm.
came across really well. He was just a good, genuine chit chat. We talked mainly about boxing. He's obviously a boxer from Belfast, the Hammer.
The Hammer from West Belfast.
Run this bit of a run with boxers at the minute, but everyone we were saying, everyone we get on are just they're so easy to talk to.
So down to earth, like and
Yeah.
I felt like we always say we always want to do a chat rather than an interview, and I think sometimes it's so hard not to do an interview because you're just asking questions. But I felt this one in particular was just very like chill, just nice. He was open enough to talk to us. He gave us a good insight to what his career has been like, his ups and downs and stuff. And yeah, it's really interesting because actually the last podcast we did with Sean McComb and then this one with Pody kind of overlapped. Both mentioned each other. That was kind of sweet. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, they're friends, aren't they? The same management team.
MTK Promotions, but I think they're both from West Belfast, so they came up in the boxing scene together. So that was really good. It's just good to get a good insight of boxing. We've done it for the last few episodes now, but it is interesting because he gets people's perspective and stuff. And I think Pody is slightly older than Sean, so he's like 4 years older. So like he's talking about already, like he's saying he's talking about like thinking about his career could easily be in another 2 years, and that's it. So the way boxing is and the way COVID is as well.
But yeah, no, it was a real good chat.
Yeah, so I hope you enjoy.
You are now listening to MCPodcasting.
There he is. How's it going?
How's things? You good?
Oh,
my phone just.
Hi, mate.
How's it going, mate?
I'm
Yeah,
good.
all good.
I'm very well.
Loving the Toy Story background there. Is that the wallpaper Toy Story? Aye.
Yeah, this is my son's room, so he's everything in this room. Marvel, everything.
Avengers and all. That's kind of like Steven's room.
Looks like a fucking classroom.
It's unreal.
How you keeping anyway, mate? How's things?
Okay, yeah. So I'm currently on lockdown at the minute. So I've like 7 days ago, or six or 7 days ago.
Oh shit! Why were you in contact with someone? You had it?
Yeah. So my wife tested positive. She had symptoms on Tuesday, and get tested. No, she had symptoms on Wednesday, and then she get tested. So yeah. So she tested positive.
Oh fuck, man! But you're negative.
I tested as well, but I'm negative. Yeah.
That's so strange. You actually live together. You would think everyone in that house will have it then once someone has it.
Well, you would think that. Yeah, I suppose it's like a cold or flu. Like once someone gets it, like it doesn't mean that you get it. But yeah, I thought because she's had it that I was going to get it, but no.
Yeah. Hi, Shannon. Is she okay?
Yeah, no, she's good. She's a bit of a cough, and her energy levels are a bit low. But apart from that, nothing serious.
Happy days then, because obviously nowadays when you hear someone getting COVID, you automatically think the worst. You think the worst case scenario, don't you? You think hospital on a respiratory fucking machine.
Yeah, cool. So that's another thing. My mum's currently she's in the hospital with it, so she is. So.
Oh no way, lad.
It's been struck like with COVID, like. But yeah, apart from that, everything's good.
Oh fuck's sake, lad. But maybe we'll go on to this actually now because I know no one in my immediate family has it, and no one's ever had it in my immediate family. And then some family members of mine are basically talking, goes, "Oh, it's kind of bullshit." They're already talking that way. They're like, "Well, we don't know anyone's ever had it." So does that annoy you that you know people in your immediate family who has it, and people are almost denying it?
No, it doesn't annoy me because I'm quite like everyone's entitled like to their own opinions, like. But my mum was on a ventilator for 14 days there, so.
Oh jeez, lad.
So that's quite serious, like for me. But listen, there's a lot of people. There's a virus out there, but if people don't want to believe it, like I think it's totally up to them.
Yeah, it's one of the things because if it doesn't affect your immediate family, like, and the government's telling you here, you got to go back into lockdown. You're like, why though? I'm okay. Like, and you're like, well, this decision is getting made because of other people aren't okay, and that's the problem.
Yeah, I just hope there's not another lockdown.
No.
It's very, very hard. It's very hard. Mentally, it's mentally draining. Mentally draining, so it is.
It is, isn't it? Me and my girlfriend had this conversation last night about going back in lockdown, and she's like, she's one of these people like, yep, if lockdown happens, I'm happy enough to go back into it. I want to help people, but mentally, I'm like, I can't do it.
Oh, okay, he's back. He's back. So,
Fuck, sorry, lads, make my internet just went out there, so I've switched over to 4G and see
That's
how
what I
this goes.
That's what I was saying. I think it was the same last week, remember?
I don't know what is going on. Like, it's an absolute nightmare. Like, and see, internet. I'm going to go
No, he's gone again.
on a rant
yeah,
here.
he's gone.
See, internet companies, their customer service is shocking,
Yeah. Yeah, we all know that.
isn't it?
Yeah.
You're trying to put up Virgin Media?
It's unbelievable.
I had an
Hard
argument.
on.
I had an argument one time, and they basically said it was my fault. The internet was going slow. You're using it too much. I'm like, what? Everything's like, you need your phone, your laptop, or your iPad, your PlayStation. You have too many devices connected to this internet. I'm like, what the fuck?
That's what I'm paying the money for, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mm.
And they're like, oh, you need to pay for more megabytes. I was like, okay, can we pay for more megabytes? And they're like, no, that's not available in your area. What?
Good. You must be a farmer.
I live in Belfast City. I live in North
Oh, okay.
Belfast. What the fuck? It's not available in my area. What? I'm sorry. Let's go off
You want
first.
to talk about boxing or what?
Yeah, I'm going to boxing.
No, I'm easy. I'm easy.
All right, so I think I'm going to say congratulations, Pody, in your last fight against Mickey Ellison.
Yeah.
That was one of them fights are long endurance. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon.
A test of heart.
70 seconds.
Not much it was.
It was a shock. It was a shock. I was expecting like my hardest fight to date, and thankfully, thankfully, it was only 70 seconds.
Yeah. Because you said
Yeah.
that actually before the fight. I think I read an interview. You said this is my toughest opponent. I'm like, what?
Yeah, it was good to be. He was coming off some big wins, and he was very confident. I seen him. So we arrived on Sunday night. I seen him on Monday morning, and I seen him, and I kind of looked at him, and I thought, "Fuck, this guy's up for this." And he was confident, but about 10 seconds in the fight, I kind of knew that it wasn't going to last long.
Really? Like, do you go into
Yeah.
the fight thinking that, like, thinking I can knock him out, or do you just think, okay, we'll just kind of have to judge it on like as the fight goes on?
No, so me and Dee, we trained for loads of different options. Most of our work was on plan A. Actually, was the boxing move, because he's an aggressive fighter, and we were expecting him just to lay it on me. So we done a lot of work, like on the back foot. So 2 days on the Tuesday, I was watching videos of him, and I says, "D, I think I can push. I think I can like win this fight by just pushing him back."
Yeah, like being
And
the
he was like-
aggressor.
Yeah, and he was like, "Well, let's try it from the start." I went out and threw a jab to the body, and then I knew from his. D says that shot's there. So then I done it. I threw a right hand over the top, and then I knew. I was like, "Yeah, I think I can get him out of here."
Yeah, because the reason I ask were you aiming for that there because you weren't throwing jabs. Every jab or every punch you threw was an absolute bomb and looked like it hurt him every time. Even the ones he
Yeah.
blocked, he was still like
Yeah.
stumbling back instantly.
Yeah, check hook as well. So I don't know. I have like it's like heavy hands as well. I don't know. I just when I punch people like they always react like hurt. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just strange. It's strange.
And is
I wouldn't
that-
want to
Look
feel
at
it.
me, like,
yeah.
I'm 6'1" and I'm quite thin, and then I start punching people and they start falling over. I don't know.
Would you say that's your most satisfying victory so far?
No, I wouldn't. No,
No.
I wouldn't.
What else? What would be?
Well, I think it's hard to beat the feeler.
Oh,
Like in the
yeah.
falls park in front of
Yeah.
30
Yeah.
people. But also, in my fourth fight, I took a fight on 24 hours notice against Sean McGlinchey.
Jesus.
And we had 2 fights back in the amateurs, and I won one and Sean won the second one. It was towards the end of my amateur career. So the first fight that I beat him was in the Ulster final. it was a qualification for the Commonwealth Games, but then it went back to the Ulster board, and they made us fight again.
Yeah,
I fought him
because
again. And then he beat me and went to Commonwealth Games. So, so to get my revenge, like in the pros, I think that was my most like a satisfying win.
yeah, because we were actually talking to Sean McComb about that actually, and he said that there. He says him and you were basically robbed to go to Commonwealth Games, and like the only box
so-
off that actually had was used to.
So I still blame Sean McComb. I blame Sean McComb.
Why
If
is that?
If Sean McComb had entered the Ulster, he didn't enter the Ulsters, and because he was Irish champion, he was entitled to a box off. If he had it, if he boxed in them, then there wouldn't have been any box offs, and I would have went.
Why is that?
It's just because there was going to be a box off anyway. So Sean was always going to fight the winner of the lightweight, and because that was happening, it give the Ulster board a chance to give a box off to my opponent. So Sean McGlancy was the only guy who could beat in the finals to get a box off.
Oh right.
It's just like it's politics as well. It's like
Yeah,
it's-
that was like
said,
a. Sorry, go
It
ahead.
was a theme. That was the theme of our
Like a
podcast
democracy.
with Sean.
yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, that's what it was. Like
Yeah.
it's politics.
And
It's
I
politics.
felt like with Sean was an interesting chat, and he was very nice to talk to us for I think close to an hour. But
Yeah.
I felt like he basically what I liked about Sean, he didn't really earn a set of caution. He didn't really say like, "Oh, I'm trying to be very political here." He literally just told the
No.
truth. He was like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
they're all scumbags. Boxing's full of
Yeah.
scumbags. Politics. Like, you get in, get out as soon as possible. You can't trust anyone." And I was like, "What the fuck's going on here? Is this an insider saying that there? Jesus Christ!"
No, Sean. I remember after Sean's fight, so Sean was on second last and I was on last. And after Sean's fight, there was a bit of a like his brothers were going crazy and they were trying to get his brothers were trying to attack the referee and stuff. Or
Serious?
yeah, there was a guy and they were all shouting, going mad, and I was like, "What the hell?" They went mental.
Oh, fuck. Do you think you won that fight when your box off?
Yeah. No, I do. I actually the final I thought was really close. It could have went Sean's way. I got the fight. But in the box off, I thought I won the fight a lot more.
Yeah.
So, listen, once I knew there's a box off, the only way that I was going to win that fight is if I had knocked him out. And I didn't. So,
Because Sean was saying like you got judges up from like down south, no, it had to be like neutral, but basically
Yeah.
there's 5 judges and they picked like 3 of their scorecards or something like that.
yeah. So, that in my fight there was 3 judges from the north and 2 from the south, and the 2 from the south gave me the fight, and the 3 from the north didn't. So the ones that were neutral said that I won the fight, and the ones that had a bit of an input, like in what's going on, they give it against me.
And is it because were you with Holy Trinity as well?
I was with Gillian.
All right. What
I
do you
was
think? Do you think it's just this didn't like your clubs or didn't like you as people or what?
I think it was just postcodes. I think like Derry Donegal, I think they had a lot more people with a lot of influence like on the board, so they had like more votes. They kind of run the back, like apart from Paul McMahon, who's from Belfast. It was mainly Derry and Donegal people, and like mid Ulster, and they all stuck together.
Yeah. Do you
So
like
Sean
that happened-
McGlinchey's
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sean McGlinchey's coach, his father he's the boss of all the referees,
Oh Jesus.
or referee and judging. So listen, me and Sean's good friends now, and it's all forgot about. So
Yeah. But like
Yeah.
at that stage, how old were you? Do you know?
yeah, I was 26 coming 27.
I mean, like, so, like, you're at like that career where you want, like, you going to the Commonwealth Games could change your career, change your life.
Massively.
You know what I mean? And that when they
Yeah.
do that, when they fucking like snub you like that, like, does that not? I asked Sean this as well. Do you not feel like you want to give up in boxing, like almost
Yeah,
like
of
step
course.
away from it all?
Well, I was only back to boxing. I was 4 years. I stopped boxing for 4 years, and I trained for 3 weeks and entered the Ulsters, and then I won them. And that's what they said. So their excuse was listen, like he hasn't been, like he's not boxing, like he hasn't boxed. So why should he go? And that was their excuse. So yeah, I had stopped, and then that happened, and I was like, I'm gonna stop again. Like it's not worth it.
It's
But
not like
Can I
then,
ask?
stressed.
yeah,
See, just on that there. So after that happened, when did the opportunity arise for you to turn pro? How old were you when you turned pro?
I was nearly going to stop boxing, and then Kieran Farrell started signing. He signed Joe Hillerby, Jared Healy, and a few other fighters, and I seen it, and they were up training with Ray Gilney and D Walsh, and I thought instead of stopping boxing or fighting amateur again, I'm gonna see like. So I contacted Kieran, and I contacted D Walsh and Ray. And then next thing, Kieran, he flew here to watch us sparring, and when he flew here, I signed the same day. So it was about 6 months.
So you didn't really have like did you ever have a goal? Your dream was become pro, or it's just kind of just you kind of had just happened, or
So funny enough, like before I stopped boxing, like the 4 year break, I signed pro with a guy called Graham Earl,
all right.
who also signed Ray Ginley and Mark Ginley as pros, and we were meant to have a fight in the King's Hall, and a week before the fight, the whole show was called off. So then I was like, "It's boxing, like it's not for me." So I stopped for 4 years.
No luck.
So I never had a pro fight, and then I stopped boxing for 4 years, and I came back as an amateur. And that's when I fought.
So you turned pro, went back as an amateur, and then went to pro again. And I know there's so much politics going on in boxing, from the grind to the top to the fucking like Tyson Fury's and Floyd Mayweather's. Have you seen a difference since you've moved away from amateur boxing and became a professional? Even is it different in terms of like, is it just as much politics going on and so much fucking negotiation before a fight can even happen?
Yeah, like so for me, like I get sent a name, and it's like, this is a fight for you, and then we talk about when, where, and what's the money. But I think boxers in Ireland, I think we're a bit worse off than the ones in England, because like if you look at Frank Warren and Frank Warren and Sky Sports, they don't have much fighters from here, because it doesn't make sense. Apart from like Frampton and Burnett and Burnett and stuff, it doesn't make sense. It costs a lot of money, for them companies to ship their whole like TVs or like the cameras and just their people over here. And I think Irish boxing is held back by being a small island.
It's not like Satanta and stuff like down south that was show fights and stuff. Is not any money in that there? No.
It's gone.
Oh, Satanta gone now?
Yeah, it's been gone a while. Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
So it'll look.
No. Yeah.
But in saying that, like, even though if the English lads have an advantage, like, there's still some cracking boxers that have came from here, like.
Unreal.
Ridiculous, like.
Unreal. Like, see the likes of like Sean McComb and stuff. If they're based across the water, like he's same with like Eddie Hearn or Frank Warren, no problem. And like we have some serious talent here. Lewis Crocker, again, he's same with Frank Warren first. He had about 7 or 8 fights under Frank Warren, and then I don't know what happened there, but he's not same with Frank Warren anymore. And now he's just managed by MTK, and now he's went and won a free European title. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah,
like you wonder, why did Frank Warren not keep him on? I don't know, but
yeah, I said politics and stuff. And do you think sometimes that kind of helps? Like like the good talent that came from Belfast, like you yourself, Sean McComb, Ryan Burnett, Michael Conlon. There's so much, and do you think that puts you in good stead when you actually go across England, because you had so much competition here, and if you can make it in Belfast alone, you can make it in England, no bar.
Yeah, of course. Like it's definitely good for us. Like we have the likes of Frampton and Conlon and Burnett and stuff, because they're bringing big shows to Belfast, and it's giving us a feel of what it's like. So if we need to go away and fight, then we've had that experience of fighting in front of big crowds and like arenas and like in big fights as well. So it's definitely an advantage to have them here.
Is it nerve-wracking? Like fighting when you fought in Falls Park? I know you said it was amazing for you, but like, was it nerve-wracking, the amount of people?
No, definitely, yeah. Like you definitely get nervous. I think at the Falls Park, I was not nervous. I was just more buzzed. Like I was really like I was so up for the fight, and like it was outdoors. Like I was standing, like waiting to come in the ring and looking about me, and like I'm thinking, like I used to run about this place, freaking drinking cider. You know, I'm going, and now I'm going to fight. Like it was just a buzz. But my first fight was in the Odyssey on the Ram Burnett undercard, and I was very nervous then. Like I was in the changing rooms, and I was like looking about me, and there was like the people that I seen on TV, and I'm going, shit, what's going on here? and then what? Like I was a float fight, so I didn't know. It was like, so you're a float fighter means like you just fight anytime. So I'm sitting there, and they're like, oh, you're on next, and then they come in and went, no, you're not next. It might be in about 3 fights time.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there like no shorts on and no gloves on, and they come in and go, McCrory, you got 4 minutes. You have 4 minutes. And I'm like, shit, I got to pull on my shorts, stick on my gloves, no warm up, and just go out and fight. And it was like I was nervous, like so nervous.
Fucking hell! But it is like your first fight to be at the Odyssey, like, and for anyone like at Belfast, that's the big arena. I mean, Odyssey Arena, that's when all the bands play and stuff. For you to fight your first fucking fight there, like, what the fuck?
Yeah. So when I first signed pro, my first goal was a fight at the Odyssey, and then it happened like my first fight. So
you know, like you're done, just retire happy now. Won my first fight, fought at the Odyssey. I'm happy enough.
I was very lucky. It was because Kieran Farrell, who I'd signed with, he is based in Manchester, and he has links with like Matchroom and stuff. And then Eddie Hermes, he had a bill here, and he was able to get me on it.
Fuck,
it was not to do with because like I was a good fighter or nothing. It was just because I was staying with him, and then he was able to get me on the bill.
But there's so much.
Sorry, Dan. They don't really use the Odyssey much. I know. Do you remember when Rookie had his mad run and he was just flipping, fighting everyone? He was at the Odyssey a lot. He fought freaking Tyson Fury at the Odyssey.
Yeah, I was there.
And it doesn't seem to be used as much. You never really seem to get too much boxing going on there, and it's ready made for a boxing fight. Like,
yeah, Jesus, I know. But do you know why? Well, this is why I think. If you look at Ram Burnett, he fought for a world title on his first fight. It was only half a stadium. He then fought in his second fight, and he was unifying. He was fighting for like 3 belts, 3 world titles, and it only sold 3/4 of a stadium. If it's not Frampton, it doesn't sell out, and it doesn't make sense then to have shows in the Odyssey.
Yeah.
Why is that like though? Is this just because Frampton's been around? Because I know, like, I know Ram Burnett, I grew up with him, so, but like, and you obviously you grew up in the boxing scene with him, but apart from that, if you're not, because Carl Frampton's been around for so long, now it feels like it from like no age. Ram Burnett came on the scene, he burst on the scene, and then he's gone already because of his injury, which is really unfortunate. So he didn't get enough time in the spotlight. Maybe like, if he kept on 3 years down the line, because I think Ram Burnett's only like 20, 28, isn't he? So he's 30.
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
He was a serious talent, like serious talent. And I think it kind of hindered him that he was built up more in England. So he didn't really get the build a fan base here.
Yeah, true, actually.
He went under Hatton, didn't he? He went under Hatton for a bit.
Yeah, Hatton. He signed first. He signed with Hatton. I think he had 1 fight here in Belfast, his first fight. And then I think he then moved. I think he moved to Booth, and then all the rest of his fights were all in England, apart from the one. Then he came home for Lee Haskins.
And I think Carl Frampton, what helped him, obviously he's an amazing boxer, but obviously Barry McGuigan took him under his wing, and he's a massive name, and then he's out there, and then
Yeah.
And I think Frampton done really well to market himself, in fairness. Like across
Yeah.
both communities and stuff as
Yeah.
well. Like everyone loved him. He done a brilliant job marketing himself. And it doesn't
Yeah.
help the fact that he's a class fighter as well.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Frampton is my favorite fighter.
Oh, really?
Fighter of all time. Yeah, I love Frampton. So it's a shame because I always like I had aims, and my aim was the fight in the Odyssey, and it was a fight on a Frampton card, and I was due to do it, and Gutierrez fell in the shower, and the whole bill got scrapped.
Oh
I was on
yeah.
that card, so I was on that card. That was my second fight. That was going to be like my second fight, and with like all weighed in and stuff, and we're all sitting there, and then a sponsor rang. He phoned me at like about 9 o'clock and says, "Mate, the fight's off." And I was like, "Why?" He says, "The guy Frampton's fighting has fell in the shower and smashed his face open." So I was
Fucking
like,
dick.
"Oh my God."
Dick.
Why did they
Selfish
scrap
dick.
the whole card though? Like, I get that obviously it's a money thing, but like, I'm sure there was 5, 6, 7, whatever other fights. I'm like, they did not have allowed those fights to go ahead.
Yeah, but then you would have had there was maybe 10,000 tickets sold. You would have had
Yeah.
maybe 5,000 of him,
Refunded.
like all the money back.
Yeah,
Do you know what I
true.
mean? So
See, see the way you said Carl Frampton was your favorite fighter. I'm sure you've met Carl a few times by now. Like, do you tell him this shit, or you just go play it cool? I always think out there, if I ever met someone like I really enjoyed, would I tell them out there, or someone I grew up like, like what I tell them, or do you just like play it cool when you see him? Oh,
when I first seen him,
what's your name again, Carl or Rand? Can you
when I
tell?
first seen him, I was like, "I know your face." No, I'm only joking. No, like, I've always said it. So Card's always been my favorite fighter. But I always remember at the time I was only about 19, and I was down in. It was about 3 o'clock in the morning, and it was Thompson's garage, and I seen Pody Barnes and Card Frampton, and I went, "Well, what's cracking?" So I think it was still amateur then. And Fram looks at me and goes, "You're that fella, Paddy McCrory, aren't you?" And I says, "Aye." "Who are you?" And I didn't. But from then, I speak to Carl and stuff, like, and I text him that again. But like, he's a brilliant guy, so he is. And I think because like I stopped boxing for like 4 years, and he was making it big. And then I flew to Manchester and watched him against Scott Quigg. And
He was brilliant that fight.
Oh, that was a good fight.
yeah, the atmosphere was unreal.
Yeah.
And like from then, like, he's always like, right, like even at the start, like I seen him in the Ulster Hall. Was it the Ulster Hall? He fought maybe Ulster Hall, yeah. But yeah, Frampton's my favorite fighter.
It's so good to have someone like that, and I say there's so many of them, like, because honestly, Carl Frampton's going through a lot of legal shit now, and like, it's just good to have someone who's went through all that there before you. So if something does happen, you can just get, I say, he's a text away, he's a phone call away.
Yeah, and like Carl, like, he's so down to earth, like, he'll never ignore you, so he won't. I can text him now something silly, and he'll get back to me. So he's
like,
he's so down to earth, like.
Yeah, you wouldn't text him and ask him, does he want to come on this podcast?
I'll text him. And they're asking Johnny Warner.
I go on.
Add him into the Zoom chat.
I was for him now. What's his email address? We'll try to squeeze him in somewhere. You know, we'll have a lot of guests coming on. Like, maybe we'll squeeze him in. I actually walked past him. Like, obviously he's a big name now in Belfast and stuff. And I always thought, sure, I'll get a photograph. And I walked past him in Tesco up in Newton Abbey like years ago. Years ago.
Yeah.
And there's everyone around him and all too. I mean, I got to get a photograph of him and all too. And he walked past me, and I literally just chickened out. I was like, nope, just kept walking down the fucking milk aisle. I was like, just keep walking, don't look at him, don't make eye contact. He may punch you in the face.
It's so hard because so at the press conference, like, for the boxing, so it was a press conference for the Frampton bill that I was fighting on, and I was nervous about going and asking for a freaking photograph.
Oh yeah, more nervous for that.
Yeah, he's like, I wonder why I asked him for a photograph here, but I did, and I'm kind of glad I did. Like,
it's kind of like anything, you know, like, even like, Stephen, do you remember that time when we were in Manchester and we saw Gerard Houllier?
Yeah.
Me and Stephen were in Manchester watching a game, and we saw it was Marseille game years ago when we were good, and we saw Jerry Houllier and Gary McAllister. They were like managers of Aston Villa at the time, and we saw like, fuck that Jerry Houllier, fucking what the fuck, and we ran after him. Me, Stephen, and a bunch of our mates ran down after him, and he turned around to walk back their way, and we all just like dispersed into the way. We all walked. We all like, no, I'm not gonna photograph. But it's because
you never know. Like you don't want to annoy people at the same time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's like, I don't know. Do you get it? Do you get when people come up to you saying hello? Like I always think I would, if I was ever famous, I would be sound. There's most people that I could possibly be. But then you think, if I'm getting asked for autographs 10, 15 times a day, it probably would piss me off too.
Well, thankfully, I never had that, like, a massive problem with it. Like, but no, I don't get annoyed. I love all that sort of. But I love all that sort of. I love, like it's a short career, so, and like I love sort of like getting to know people, sort of. So
Yeah.
I'm into it.
But
speaking about your career, what do you think? Obviously, you're 11-0 now, mate, aren't you? And obviously, COVID is doing everyone's head in, so no one knows when they're going to do what. Has there been any talk? When do you think you're going to get back in the ring?
Yeah, so I'm hoping this side of Christmas.
Amazing.
I was chatting with Jimmy Conlon last week, and he said that they're looking at something. So I'm hoping that it's. I would love to fight in Belfast again. 10 of my fights have been in, like, all based in Belfast. So I'm hoping that I get one more fight with fans there, because this COVID, like, it could go on for a year. I'm 32, so I don't know. Like, my career could be maybe another 18 months, like about 2 years. And by the time COVID goes away, I don't know if we're gonna have fans again. So I don't know. It's a strange time.
Yeah, and that's actually a question which came up during the Sean McComb podcast we did with him. And then Sean McComb's like, he's 27, 28, so he's quite young. Like, he's a few years younger than yourself. And he was already, he said this during it, he's already thinking about leaving. Like, he has like a plan in place. He says 4 more years and that's him. Like, do you something like that there? Or are you just kind of taking a fight at a time? Or do you have a year you want to leave?
I don't really have a date, but I don't want to hang about in boxing. Like, I don't want to like hang about and like maybe like, get off of these big fights, and get used. Like they get used for like maybe like Frank Warren fighters or Sky Sports fighters. I don't want to get used, and I don't want to get my head pumped in just for a few pounds. So I think I'll know like when my time's up. So
yeah, but it must be so hard because did you watch that documentary, the True North documentary, when boxing ends? Like, Ram Bennett was on it and all too. It's so interesting because people don't realize how short of a career boxing actually is, and people assume. I'm sure people come up to you, Pody, and say, "Fuck yeah, like he was on TV the other week. He must be a millionaire. Like, why is he here for? You don't make that much money in the first few fights anyway, and it's hard because there's so much boxers in boxing."
Well, professional boxing is probably one of the only sports that you don't get a wage at. So like you don't get paid like a weekly wage. Like if you're a professional footballer, like you get a weekly wage. If you're a professional like snooker player, well, I don't know, but like in terms of a professional sport, like outside of like the 1%, it's very there isn't like massive money in it unless you get some big fights.
And it's so much work because like people say, let's take your last fight for example. People probably watch that fight and don't know much about boxing, just see Pody fucking knocking this guy out, going, "Geez, boxing's easy enough. He only fought for 70 seconds. It's not like that's easy enough career." But they don't see the work that actually goes into it, the preparation, the commitment. Like I'm sure
I went through a 12-week camp. The first 4 that was during like a bit of a lockdown, and we were going like outdoors. But after that, I had to go back to work. So I worked like 25, 30 hours a week. I have 2 kids as well. Like it's very taxing on the body. Training twice a day, making time for like your wife and family, and also going to work.
Yeah, 100%. Like, and people don't see that. People don't see it.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
exactly.
I'm sure
Exactly.
there's camps you've had. I know, like, obviously, like Tyson Fury talks about it a lot. He says he leaves his family for weeks on end and stuff. Like, people don't realize how hard a job boxing actually is, and then your job is to go in the ring and punch another guy enough to make him stop punching you. You know?
I know. And that's it. It's like it's a blood sport. Like you get in, like. See, for me, I never want to get in and actually like really hurt somebody, but I want to get in and I want to win a fight. So I'll do what it takes to win a fight, and just hope that like me or him's not hurt. You know what I mean? So, but there's a lot of work. There's a lot of work that like you make it like the odd post on like a social media, see a few sprints or some pads or some bags, but that's only a small clip.
Yeah.
Like what goes on. There's like
Do you have to
early mornings and long runs? Go ahead, mate.
Yeah.
do you have to cut weight, a lot of weight for a fight? Or I know some, I think every boxer's different. Some people balloon up when they're not fighting. Some people keep themselves in shape all year round. Do you go through a big weight cut before you get in?
Yeah, so during lockdown, I put on a serious amount of beef. Like, it was the heaviest that I've been. So I when I first started cutting weight, I was 92 kilo. 92 kilo. And I weighed in at 77 kilo.
Jeez, that's a lot. Then. So even when you're like, so people are really strict. Obviously, when you're in camp and you're preparing for a fight, you be really strict with yourself, like no alcohol, no sugars and stuff, or are you very laid back?
No alcohol. No, geez, once I hear that, like I have a fight, drinks off. But in terms of like, I love chocolate, so like I'll always have like a small bit of chocolate. But outside of that, I'm quite strict.
But even when you're not preparing for a fight, would you be kind of be a bit sensible, like don't drink as much, or you just say kind of like, oh fuck, I'm not preparing for a fight, I can enjoy myself?
I try to be, but like obviously, like I spent 12 weeks there, like being strict, like not drinking and stuff. So from my fight, like I've had I've a few drinks like with my like my family and like my wife and stuff, but nothing serious. Like I'm not drinking every night. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
probably from my fight, which was about 5 weeks ago, I probably had about 5 drinks.
Oh really? Is that it?
Well, not 5 drinks, like
5 nights out. 5 nights out.
I was going to say I've had 5 drinks this morning.
All right, Pody.
25 drinks like every 5 times.
Yeah.
You are now listening to MCPodcasting.